Good afternoon and good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to this round 2 of the GP4 Offline Championship, coming to you live from the Persian Gulf of Bahrain. My name is Will Nella, and I am joined today by Panos Sakouras and Yuri Mata. Guys, how are you all today?
Well, I'm fine.
Good to hear, Panos.
I'm getting the
Good
boot.
stuff. Good.
I hope
Right, obviously ready for a
hope I'm good.
25-minute practice session just to set things up before qualifying tomorrow. Franco Gamba coming into this round, having won last weekend in Australia. Red Bull 1-2, no less. After a year of no wins, Red Bull finally find themselves back on the top step. Hopefully a few more discussion points to come. What are we thinking, guys?
It was surprising.
Unexpected, to be honest.
What was that, Panos?
It was unexpected result.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, a new driver taking their first win in the first race in the team is, something we haven't seen since, Robert Inesco, I think, in 2014. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yes, in Australia.
That was it. It was. See, there's a trend here. There's a
Oh,
trend
wait.
with the new drivers.
Franco Lopez did it last year.
Oh, of course. How can we forget? Franco Lopez, obviously P3 as well. Comfortably ahead of Armar Carr, down in 8th place. Disappointing day for him on his first race for the team. But hopefully we see a nice battle throughout the season with the Red Bulls and Mercedes cars. Something I think that we will see today.
Both Mercs dropped in the wet part of the race, and Armar, of course, had damage, so there's more to come from him. Like, both of the Red Bulls were way back before it started to rain.
Yeah, that was a weird one, wasn't it? I think the rain was definitely the leveller. Having watched, obviously, you saw a few drivers dropping off a little bit beforehand. Obviously, David Kupok, someone who I'm sure we will discuss in a bit more in depth as the practice session unfolds after a superb qualifying. But obviously, some drivers really performing, like Laura Chung coming through during the part of the race, getting the fastest lap and finishing in a disappointing P10, unfortunately. But yeah, there's definitely elements to talk about. No chance of rain today, I don't think, as it is in Bahrain, and I don't think we've ever seen rain at this circuit, but correct me if I'm wrong.
We have.
We have. There we go. Proves my knowledge. I really need to brush up on my theory.
2015 was wet.
2015. Oh, I was even there, and I still don't remember it. How fun is that? Right, anyway, clock is now counting down. 25 minutes of running today. Let's see who is first out onto the circuit. We are currently waiting for... Has the green light gone on? Yeah, it must have gone. Is it a red light at the end of the lane? I can't even tell. Oh, there we go. There's one coming out. Looks like Mercedes.
I think.
That's the one, yeah. Oh, who's been beaten to it. I think that's... Is that Tick? Yeah, it's Titkov, isn't it?
Leading.
Titkov, perfect. Okay, obviously made his debut last weekend, finishing, I think, P18. So not a bad result for the Manor team.
It's his second season.
I'm an idiot, ignore that. I was even in charge of the sign-ups. How's that work? Either way,
He wasn't that invisible last season. Come on.
Caused a lot of headaches, as we all know. Anyway, P18 last weekend, was that as good as he could have got, do you think, or was there more to come from him in the Manor team?
Well, it's the place where Manors are expected to be honestly fighting with Williams is. Rosetta was also P17, if I'm wrong. Correct me on that.
Yeah, no, she was. He even was P17 and all that. So yeah, I think, to be fair, what were they ahead of Jared Fosbury in the Haas? So I think obviously it's quite tight at the back between the likes of Williams, Haas, and Manor. So yeah, maybe more to come. We'll see with a few more running sessions. I'm sure Martinez and Titkov will both pick up a little bit of form. Who else was down there last weekend? One team that I do want to just discuss very quickly, Renault. What happened with Jay McKenzie last weekend? P15 in the race. I think that just summed it up really. An awful showing from the Renault.
Terrible round for Renault. Like Evan Byrne also got dropped out in Q1 and
Byrne hit the rock, I think.
I mean, unexpected, I think, or was that just one of those races where, no form in the car in qualifying, and as a result, it just sort of showed in the race?
maybe.
It happens, Sorry.
maybe I think it was just a one-time soccer. Like I do expect a lot better from them this time around.
Yeah, I think with a circuit like this, a few long straights, a bit more chance for overtaking. I'd like to hope that we see a much better showing from Renault this weekend. I think they're expecting a half decent season, but we'll see. Did you have anything to add there, Panos?
The midfield is also very tight, so the performance from one of the riders is different. One day you're P15, the other you're P6.
I think that's absolutely spot on. To be fair, I think it is so tight in that midfield battle. One guy that was in the midfield is the man we're on board with now. It's Amar Khan. Obviously, as we discussed earlier, P8 in the race last weekend. Bad day in the office. First team nerves. What do you reckon?
He did have damage in the race, so it's not fully representative. Like he did.
What were his times like in terms of the field, though?
He did.
I mean, he's.
Like he did after his damage, he did get a higher position than for example Lord Chang, who also had damage as well. So it's like his pace was not on Lopez level, but he was probably good for at least fourth.
Yeah, I think fourth would have been a fair assumption. He came in behind three fantastic performances this weekend. We had Roland Mochin, Kirishima de Rosa and Gabriel Gomez all coming through in 5th, 6th and 7th. What do we make of that? I mean, Roland Mochin, the standout there with 5th place. I mean, that was one hell of a drive from the Hungarian.
Yes, it was actually, and this was the most unexpected result in my opinion, because the racing boys haven't shown really much of the pace. And it's a good start, really, and hopefully he can continue that.
Well, let's hope so. It'd be interesting to see if he can continue that. He's just put in a lap, I think, to go P3, so that's quite an impressive time. We ride on board now with Laura Chung. What's happened here? I think this is a replay, isn't it? So
It is a replay.
it isn't a replay, normally.
She almost goes off.
Correction thing. She'll recover from that, hopefully. I think that first sector was a bit of a write-off anyway. Still getting to grips with the new Ferrari car. Lovely to see her still in the sport after a period where it looked like she wasn't even going to be in the top class. So nice to see her still competing and now at a top-line level in Ferrari. Very good to see that female representation as well within the OC. Her teammate, by contrast, Joe Willows, is on top, 8/10 clear of Miklos Gauer, 1 minute 29.2. He would be probably disappointed with 4th place from last weekend. I thought that he'd be a little bit stronger.
He threw away the win, like just full on. He was much faster than anybody else on the wet, but then he ran off by himself and lost his front wing, which his mistakes used to be uncharacteristic for him, but it's getting a little bit more common for now. Like even last season he did in similar fashion at least 2 races. I can say Austria and Belgium where he just made a mistake on his own and ruined his race.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting you say that, Yuri, in terms of it's uncharacteristic. I mean, there was a time where Joe Willows was completely impenetrable when it came to mistakes, but has sort of started to creep in as another element, another facet to his racing career. Maybe a sign of the age, I don't know. He's been at Ferrari one hell of a long time, seen a lot of action in the red cars. Not doing himself any harm here, though. 8/10 clear of Gal, obviously our runner-up last weekend. He looks fairly competitive. One standout in there is Catalan in 7th place, 9/10 off the pace, but still a very strong performance there. And Derry in 8th. What do we reckon of that, chaps?
Yeah, the Toro Rosso is looking good.
No, it is looking good. It is looking good. Obviously, Kupok qualifying as superb. I think, what was it, 3rd, was it, last weekend? It was, it was unbelievable.
Absolutely perfect qualifying for him last time out.
Absolutely, absolutely. And obviously coming up, he's done very well there to come from the 2nd tier and then put it into the 2nd row in his first race. I don't think we've seen that done for some time.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate his race heading in that way, in P9. He had a collision with Gal, I think.
Yeah, that does ring a bell. But obviously, fair though, I mean, qualifying P3 and finishing P9, even with the contact, you'd still be quite pleased, wouldn't you, to score some points on your debut? I know I would.
Of course.
Yeah, so more to come. Hopefully, it'd be nice to see him perform again. I don't know if the P3 is potentially on the cards again in qualifying, but we'll see. Stranger things have happened. One time that has two times that now spring to mind. Now, just looking at that leaderboard, if we look at the Renaults, P17 and 19 for Mackenzie and Byrne. What do we think of that? That's very poor.
Yeah, it's not good yet, but I wouldn't still count them out. There could have been traffic for them, for example. Like look at the Red Bull of Gamba in P12, for example.
P12 for Gamba. One other name that's just above him as well, Tomaselli in 10th. I'm expecting a little bit more to come from him in the McLaren. His teammate, by contrast, who we're looking on board now, Kirishima De Rossa, P9 at the moment, and a strong points finish for him last time out, 6th place. What do we make of Kiro? Do we think he's really turned the corner with regards to that McLaren after a pretty tough season last year, to be honest, all things considered?
Yeah, the 2018 McLaren car was bad.
Yeah, of course, as to be expected, but still dragged it to a couple of results. I think he got that podium in Monaco with P2, probably absolutely saved him towards the end of the season. That was a fantastic drive. Hopefully they can replicate that a little bit more often.
Yeah, if he managed the podium in 2018, you'd expect him to get at least one now, because the McLaren seems way more competitive now.
Yeah, and that's good to see, isn't it? We would love to see McLaren performing better than they were. They've obviously had a few years in the doldrums, so very good to see them starting to pick up performance as we expect it to in 2019. So fingers crossed those two can pull up some results. Oh, we're just watching some impressive slipstream there as two cars enter the pits. I think it was a Renault and McLaren. As Joe Willows crosses the line, can he prove in his 1:29.2? No, he can't. 2/10 slower, but still quite impressive. He's still in a class of his own in terms of the lap times. Only 2/10 off his best. The closest to him on 7/10 off. It's a very impressive form for the Brit.
Surprisingly low tire wear for Joe, considering it's the soft tires, which are as highly degrading as the super softs were last season.
That's interesting.
And a little bit of ruling here. So last season we had the lowered chance for one-stops with super softs and higher. This season it counts on the softs. So on the softs the chance of teams choosing the one-stop is lower than it is under mediums and hards.
Okay, that's an interesting one. That should play into a decent race strategy then, I'd imagine, yeah?
Yeah.
All things considered.
You could expect, like, the best strategy that is expected out of this race is most likely a 3-stop. But 2-stop, if you can keep the tires in a good condition, could as well be better. It'll be interesting to see who gains the advantage.
I was going to say, because there must be a peak operating. Yeah, I'd imagine that there'll come a time in the race where they'll have their optimum performance. We'll be able to see hopefully a little bit of variation. I think looking at the layout of the circuit, I wonder whether 2 stops might be more beneficial than 3. But we'll see. I think it'll play in for an interesting strategy come race day. Just having a look down now. So who have we got in that? Sorry, Panos, off you go, mate.
So different strategies are what make the races interesting in my opinion, especially tracks like Bahrain. Overtaking is possible. There are a few crashes, there's traffic. There are many variables that change the race.
Absolutely. No, I think a nice variable strategy does make for a good Grand Prix, and it's what we all like to see, isn't it? No one likes to see a procession. Fingers crossed we do see a little bit of variation in a couple of days' time.
Yeah, and Bahrain does provide with some very good spots for huge battles wheel to wheel, like turn 1, then we get into the turn, is it 4? That
yeah, I mean that's the whole first sector really, isn't it? It's quite a good racing sector in terms of wheel to wheel battles. You're right.
Anybody who's feeling feisty into the corners can give us an absolute show.
Oh, we're expecting strong things then from the likes of Lopez, Chung, probably Tomaselli as well will fancy himself in midfield. To talk some great battles from him last season. This man as well, Amar Kar, currently on a strong lap with his Mercedes. Let's see what this first sector brings. Is he close to Joe Willows? Oh, he's 3/10 off, so he's starting to creep up a little bit.
He's already done 7 laps, so you don't expect him to improve on that.
He's on a longer run.
Yeah.
On a longer run. Felix Sonte, however, is going to be on a fresh set of tyres for this run. Sorry, Panos?
This lap seems unbeatable so far. And yeah, that's all really.
As much as about to set a lap as well. I think we're all in a bit of a line here.
Yeah.
A few drivers starting new laps. We'd hopefully see a little bit of variation with regards to the times on the left-hand side. A couple of guys obviously needing to improve. So you got Mackenzie and Byrne really low down the Renault. As we said, it's been a bit of a shocker for them so far, but they can hopefully recover it. Just looking down as well, Gabriel Gomez, someone as well, probably slightly overperforming in 13th. Strong points finished last time out with 7th, but probably not something that will happen too often this season. I don't know about you, Yuri.
Okay, so information based on Arvar. After 8 laps, the time for him at least it seems to be 6/10 per lap.
6/10 per lap. So they're going to just fall off eventually, aren't they? They're just going to...
Yeah, so based on if it goes as at the same rate after 16 laps, that time you'd be 1.5 slower than you were at your peak. So it is interesting as Chang gets the Ferraris to 1-2. They are looking really good now.
They are looking really good. That is a strong lap as well. 4/10 off. Obviously, we know Joe is absolutely flying at the moment, but a strong lap from Chung. 4/10 off. The closest challenger by far. And now the time's starting to tumble. There goes Tomaselli into 5th. 9/10 off the pace. I don't know who was behind him, but I'm sure we're going to see a couple more variations there. One driver I am noticing far down that's a bit out of position, George Roke in 16th in the Racing Point. Expected a little bit more from him. Hopefully he can improve in this practice session as we ride on board with Tomaselli.
A little bit of unlock up there.
Yeah, slightly wide into turn 3. But what's this? This is going to be 8/10 off. Yeah, I don't think this is going to be...
Yeah, with the lock up there's no chance. He had to brake early.
Being more optimistic.
But yeah, Tomaselli, not that good of a first race for McLaren, but you need to take account that maybe he needs to get comfortable with the car before he can get those star performances as he's done for Sauber.
Without a doubt. I mean, I seem to remember Tomaselli wasn't immediately apparent in terms of his pace when he started. You know, it was fairly steady at the start. Maybe it's just that integration period that he needs to just bring himself back into the fold and align himself with his new team. But you know, I think, what was it, 11th place I think last weekend. So yeah, not amazing, no points scored, but you know, I wouldn't say a complete disaster. It wasn't on the level of the Renaults, put it that way. You know, the Renault, I think, are the standout in terms of poor performance that weekend. So yeah, room for improvement, I think is the word.
Felix, yes, your logo is in the car. It's on a spot that it might not actually be that easy to spot with his track's camera angles. Like it's a bit higher up on the nose.
We'll keep an eye out for it. I'm sure we'll see it at some stage, won't we? Chris Chatfield now on the Haas. First race last weekend, obviously slightly disappointing. Didn't score any points with P14, but but you know, solid start, I'd say. Would you not?
Yeah, but overall he was way faster of the two Haas drivers.
Absolutely. It was fairly clear to see in terms of the pace difference.
Armor finally pits. That was a long run on the tires.
How many laps was that?
11 laps.
11 laps on that, and I think his best time was 7/10 off the pace. So he's slightly struggling to get up to the Ferrari speed, I think, would be the conclusion we can draw from that.
In these short practice sessions, 11 laps is huge amount of laps for one
good
run.
Running. And it gives us an idea in terms of the strategy. So if you're saying that the tyre drop-off is 6/10 per lap, and he did 11 laps of running, this is going to be a race of a lot of
Also,
tyre, I think.
as we were talking before we actually started the stream, so the practice now is 25 minutes. So I'm actually considering, because now we have commentary which has made practice a lot more interesting, to say the least. We might be increasing the practice length maybe even for next season, but at least for 2021 it's going to happen. But I am considering it for next season.
Be interesting though. I think an hour's session will give us a lot more running. Obviously, we might see a few more than 11 lap times, so it'd be interesting to see how that works. What do you reckon, Panos?
Yes, longer practice will give more teams chance to run. We will see different results. Maybe Mercedes might not make a fast lap today, but if it was a longer practice, less than 40 minutes, it could be first.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's also better, to see the cars running around for long, especially with the commentary, because before commentary, I didn't even watch the power really. It's making it more interesting, instead of just hearing the sounds of the game.
Okay, so just about Felix and his logo. On this angle, the halo is blocking the logo actually, like it's under the halo. Basically.
We can only apologise for the design of Formula One cars, Felix. We will try and get your logo on screen for as much airtime as physically possible. Right, so just having a look then, 7 minutes left to run, just having a look at those times. It is tight, isn't it? 5th place down to what? Crikey, down in 12th, separated by just about 6/10. That's quite tight in there. So you'd argue that the battle for Q3 is going to be quite a monumental one. What do you reckon, chaps?
Yeah, it's close. It's like the midfield is close enough to the top cars where they could even bring up a little bit of a surprise at times. But you just need to expect in qualifying the top teams. If they don't get the top 6, it will be a disappointment for them. Last time, as the qualifying was changeable conditions, there were few who were caught out. For example, Red Bull sent out Gal at the worst time possible in Q3, which made him qualify only in P10.
Just showed, doesn't it, that sometimes, one miscalculation from the team can really set you back. I think, we've seen it multiple times in the last few years, especially when, especially at circuits, I find where it is a tough one to overtake. I mean, Australia is not an easy place to pass. So the fact that Miklos has been able to get that car through. Sorry, Panos?
But they'll bounce back it too.
Yeah, no, exactly. As I said, he was able to drag that thing through the field. It was quite impressive, really, considering that. But yeah, I don't know if any of the other guys are probably going to be able to do it. I mean, I do look at, say, the Renaults and think if they qualified that far down, I doubt that they'd be able to bring it anywhere near the performance level required of the likes of Red Bull. But there we go. Life goes on. 5 minutes left to run. We are just now counting down and just seeing whether or not people can improve on their times. No sign of those Renaults, just to confirm. Yeah. They're still sitting down in 18th and 19th.
Speaking about the Renaults, there's something interesting that, like, we talk about this in the pre-season testing a little bit, but the Renaults are actually, as in real life, they are a low drag car. So they should be better on the tracks that require less downforce.
So they're going to come into their own later in the season, I'd imagine. Then when we come to tracks like Italy, Belgium, and everything like that.
They should fly there. But this is one of those tracks where you expect them to be at their best, at least in qualifying. It's going to be interesting because, at least one of them should make Q3. Otherwise, it's a massive disappointment.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Obviously, Evan has the 5-place grid penalty.
Oh God, yeah, I forgot about that entirely. Oh, it's going to make life a bit interesting. I think qualifying tomorrow is going to be a minefield when it comes to that. I need to work on my theory. One guy obviously will be looking to improve there, Franco Gamba even. Sorry, E14 at the moment with the Red Bull, struggling slightly, I'd imagine, compared to his teammate.
Yeah,
A bit of surprised to see him that low. You will have at least top 6.
Yeah, I was
hoping.
going to say, I think top 6 would be the minimum.
Maybe
But,
he's still acclimatizing to the Red Bull. Maybe
potentially.
have traffic, something like that. Because
Yeah,
it's
I was going to
so
say
loud, you know.
it might have been a bit of traffic. You'd like to hope so. I don't think that's probably representative of his pace. 1.3 seconds off the pace.
yeah, on super softs, the first lap is so important. You're simply not going to go faster on your second lap. Like in Australia practice, you could easily improve on your second and third and fourth laps even, maybe even further. Well, up until the rain appeared in the practice, but still.
Yeah. As you said, we go back word of tyre wear. If we're losing 6/10 on every lap, I think 6/10 in terms of the Q1.
Well,
If you
no,
do get
it
caught, you
wasn't.
are going to be in trouble.
It wasn't 6/10 per lap like you. It was you were 6/10 slower after 8 laps if we based it on how Armor Car was performing on his long stint.
So that's gonna make life a little bit easier. I was thinking 6/10 is quite a drop off.
Yeah, 6/10 per lap. You're going to be 6 seconds slower after 10 laps. Yeah, that will be like.
Can't wait to qualify a PA team doing that. Knowing
That
traffic.
will be like glass tires.
Exactly. Do we anticipate traffic being an issue here?
Not as much as in Australia. Like I'd expect that
But,
there is the risk of one of the cars you want to overtake going a bit too defensive, and as we have seen, the final corner can be a little bit of a spot to have an incident, which obviously with the track settings that I've been working on for as much as I could, I have minimized it, but it is still possible. As in real life, drivers do make mistakes when they are fighting for positions.
I think turn one's going to be one of those places where we're either going to see loads of overtakes or a couple of crashes. So hopefully it's the former. Praying it's not the latter, considering the effort that's gone into trying to make it so it's the cleanest race we possibly get. Just checking now. So Gamba did improve. He did go up to 10th place, but still quite a way off of his
Still not
teammate
good.
who is sitting 4th.
Well, he's only 2/10 off
Yeah.
Gal.
It's just, yeah.
The Toro Rossos
Ferraris and then Mercedes, isn't it?
Toro Rossos and Tomaselli and Moitian have had great laps compared to other midfielders, which is making it look a little bit worse for Gamba. As we get into the final minute, as by the looks of it, Joseph Willows has absolutely dominated this practice session.
As you often see with him, he is one of those drivers that just is capable of finding time out of nowhere, and 4/10 is acres of space. He will be very pleased with that, especially considering
there's debris.
is his teammate.
I think there's been a little bit of a collision, yeah.
Oh,
Roland tries to pit and
Roland,
he's hit
no.
so.
I mean, that's just a racing incident with regards to coming into the pits, isn't it? But,
Yeah.
he has absolutely creamed into the side of him there, I'm afraid. That must have been an interesting one from Joe.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to be too pleased with that.
Yeah, that's some extra costs for Ferrari.
Could you imagine if that happened in the race? Oh dear.
It has happened.
Oh, let's hope it doesn't again. Anyway, we tick down now to the last 45 seconds. Panos, any thoughts with regards to this session?
well, Ferrari seems very quick. I think they are the clear favorites for qualifying.
Yep.
The midfield is tight. And the only surprise really is Gamba being a little bit back.
Yeah, P10 obviously
And
not
of
ideal,
course, not in a good point.
but we'll see. He might pull it together in the qualifying. We don't know. We will just have to wait and see when it comes to it. Yuri, any thoughts from this session?
Ferrari looks pretty fucking good, to be honest. Like
83 rating has gone.
based on-
There we go.
based on the practice session, like they'd be disappointed to not take the pole. Like The
Yeah, based on that.
armor car, the fastest non-Ferrari, is almost 8 tenths slower than Joe.
Yeah, it's an age, isn't it? Let's be honest here. I mean, 7/10 at any level is an absolute age, especially in Formula
But
One.
then again, even Laura Chang is 5 tenths off, so it
Yeah.
could have been just a rocket of a lap from Joe.
Wouldn't put it past him. Let's see if Chung can even get remotely close. We'll just see. She's going to cross. It's going to be quick, actually, isn't it? This. Oh, still 7/10 off. Not as quick as I thought. So yeah, Joe Willows then remains top of the pile, 4 tenths clear of his teammate Laura Chung, followed by Armar Carr, Miklos Gal, and Paulino Tomaselli, rounding out the top 5. And that should be practice over. Just seeing this one from Jay McKenzie. Can he improve? And no, he's still 1.9 seconds off. Disappointing day in the office for Renault. Evan Byrne cannot improve either. Paulino Tomaselli, I think, is he the last guy to cross the line? I'm not too sure. There we go. Hang on. We'll see what he can do. It's going to be miles
it's
off his best.
Catalan
There's
is the
Coupon.
last one who will cross the line.
That's the last one. Okay, so we've got Coupon, Gamba now then. Gamba, can he improve on lowly
He's
P10? It is
not
only going to be P10. Campana as well, one that we will be watching here. 17th at the moment, and he will stay 17th. 1 minute 31.0. Rosetta Martinez, another one just about to cross the line. He's going to go and do a 132, which again less than optimal for the Manor team. There's Felix as well. Felix miles off the pace of his teammate, isn't he? There, Campana 5/10 clear of him. That's one hell of a gap to try and surmount on qualifying tomorrow. And he stayed where he was.
Catalans. So that's the practice over.
That is practice over. So as I said, Joe Willows top of the pile, nearly 5/10 clear of his teammate, followed by Gal in third. Sets us up for an interesting qualifying tomorrow, chaps.
Yep, it's going to be interesting to see what happens if the Mercedes and Red Bull can improve come qualifying day. But at this point, Joe has become the early favorite after that performance on the practice.
Absolutely, absolutely. Anyway, right, so that is practice over. We will see you all tomorrow for qualifying for the second round of the championship, which is in Bahrain, as you know. Thank you to Yuri, thank you to Panos for having us today. I've been Will Nella, and with that, we will see you tomorrow.